love, there's some things that we gotta face. So much we go through day to day. Trauma that we can't erase. Jesus, we need you to take your place. So come right in, we need you within. And with your love, we know we can win. Yeah, we know it ain't always easy being in this, and I know I'm not the only one. Let's talk about it. About it. Oh, let's talk about it. Oh, let's talk about it. Oh, let's talk about it.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody. So again, here we go. It's the month of June still, and I'm still here. My son in love is still here, and we as the husbands are still here. Remember, this is June, the month of the husbands takeover, y'all.
Yes,
so
sir.
We still here, and we got a special treat for y'all. I think y'all gonna be super excited about who we have on tonight, but I won't get into that just yet. I'm gonna let y'all be in a little bit of suspense, but right now, y'all know what it is, man. The husbands have been doing a great job. I want to salute all the husbands that have been on the show previously up until now. Thank y'all for y'all testimonies. Thank y'all for your wisdom, your word of wisdom. We really appreciate y'all being on. And so now today, we got a special topic that we want to talk about. We talked about blended families the first week. Second week, we talked about girl dads. And so now we're going to talk about how us as husbands, how we're going to be able to do some things supernaturally. Y'all know that we talk about ferocious faith, right? That's our tagline for right now. November, remember, November the 10th through the 12th, the Ferocious Faith Conference in Houston, Texas, y'all. Y'all don't want to miss it. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be dynamic. It's going to be life-changing. And we need y'all to be there. So if y'all are interested in getting your tickets, all you have to do is go to rfkoutreach.com/Ferocious Faith Conference. So get your tickets, look at that information that's on that website, and I promise you, you will not regret it. So that's where the tickets are, and we're excited about y'all being there and joining us there in Houston in November. So when we talk about ferocious faith, a lot of things come to my mind when I think about ferocious faith. One of the first things I think about is my lion. And see, I want to lift up my prop right now and show y'all my hammer, but my books and all that stuff is going to fall. But listen, right here at the top is that lion, right? We know who he is. We know what it is, the Lion of Judah. So we're excited about that. Again, shout out to my brother OJ for showing me some love with this, man. I'm telling you, man, this is going to be my staple. So I'm excited about what we're doing with this. So I'm going to keep this handy with me. Y'all will be seeing this again in November in Houston. So I promise you that. But as we move forward, y'all, just want to let y'all know we got a couple of books that we've been talking about over the year that God has allowed us to be either a part of or either had the opportunity to kind of promote. So we have your Don't Curse Your Crisis book. We are part of the collective that is in this book. We are chapter number 5 in this book. You can find this on Amazon, man. It's a very powerful testimony of Kimberly and I. We also have a book that Kimberly has took the time out of her schedule to do, and that's the Wise Prayer Journal. When Wise Pray, God Moves. This is a major book, man. I'm really proud of my wife for the efforts that she used with the leading of God in this book. And then last but not least, we just released this back in March 2nd, which was actually Kimberly and I's anniversary. It's the We Won't Quit, a marital tool to push through difficult times when you're dealing with marriage. So if you're dealing with difficult times, or if you know somebody that's dealing with difficult times, I promise you, this book will be something that's a blessing to you all. I promise you that. And it's real. It's raw. So I'm just telling you that straight off the top, that it's real. It's raw. We're going to be real. You'll see real situations. You'll see real people speaking and how they speaking. So I promise you, you don't be surprised about this when you get this book. So this is also on Amazon. All 3 books you can find on Amazon. Just Google them and you'll see them. So that's that. I think that's all my announcements for today. So before I get started, I want to introduce you to this amazing guest. I met this gentleman back in January at this conference called the Cry Out Conference with Pastor Keon and Lady Shawnee. And we would just happen to be sitting together, right? So the way that it went down was I'm sitting behind him, and him and another brother was sitting just having a conversation. And I'm doing some things that I don't normally do, y'all. And what I did was I actually butted into the conversation and started talking to these two gentlemen. And man, it was like we were brothers, man. We knew it's like our spirits immediately connected. And the things that we were talking about was right in tune with what it is that we need to see happening today. And me and this brother just continue to connect. We started exchanging information, started having conversations. And he is also going to be one of the speakers for the gentleman on November the 10th through the 12th. I want to introduce the world and my friends and everybody that's on this line to my brother, Pastor Eric Neely.
What's going on? What's going on, my brother? What's going on, man? I'm grateful and I'm honored to be on here with you, man, and your son in love, man. I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Thank you for being with us tonight, man. Again, I was just telling them before you came on, man, how we met. It was like it was so authentic and so organic the way that me and you and the other brother was kind of communicating, man. But for whatever reason, it was like God allowed the two of us to really kind of connect and how we shared information and just continue to communicate with one another. And he's going to have a testimony for y'all when it comes to this ferocious faith thing, man, that he's going to share. That was crazy. So I knew once that was said, I knew all off the top that it was God ordained, right? So yes, I'm excited about it, man. So listen, we were talking about ferocious faith and what it takes to be ferocious. But on tonight, we're going to be talking about ferocious men and what it takes to be ferocious men. So Pastor Eric, if you could kind of just share with the audience how we kind of had that conversation and you brought that up.
Yeah, man. So in the beginning of this year, I just felt like the Lord was just impressing on me about men. And you woke me up probably about 3:30 in the morning. God has a sense of humor. And he said, ferocious men. I need them to be ferocious. And that just stuck into my heart. And I really didn't know what to do with it until we connected, right? And It's crazy. I'm like, yo, within thousands of people in that arena at the conference, we end up sitting right next to each other. You know what I'm saying? Like God doesn't waste anything, man.
Nah.
He don't waste
anything. I promise you, y'all, we didn't know each other from a can of paint.
Nah.
We really didn't.
Nah. And once that connected, man, man, you said one thing to me, and I don't care. I'm not an emotional dude. I'm in touch with my feelings and I allow them to flow.
No doubt.
Right. So when you said this, we had a conversation. You said, man, it felt like, like I felt like John, like I leaped, like my spirit leaped when we started talking.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because it's like, God is he's already built the men, but now he's giving them an opportunity to walk into and to take and to possess what he has called them and who he's called them to be.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we've been a little passive in some things because the world has kind of made masculinity such a negative thing.
Yeah.
and power and aggression such a negative thing.
Right.
But it's in the heart of the person who uses it. It's not the entity, you know what I mean, or the emotion.
I feel you on that, man. And I feel like it's necessary. Everything that we do, everything that God has placed in us is for a particular reason. Now it's up to us as to how we manage what God has placed in us, but everything that he's placed in us. So aggression is something that's been placed in us. And I believe that it's something that's still necessary for such a time that it's needed. Obviously, you don't use aggression all the time, right? But that's just like with any other emotion or any other action. It's dedicated for such a time that is needed to make sure that you're pushing, the ideas of God, the things of God, so that people can get understanding. And some people, if I'm completely being honest, some people don't respond to people being passive. Like, God loves you, and what I mean. Some people they need somebody to be a little bit more aggressive and more, man. You need to change your life, man. You need, what I mean. And I think that's what really makes a person like Eric Thomas so powerful, because you can feel the passion in him. You can see, and for those of y'all that don't know who Eric Thomas is, check him out. He was actually at that conference, by the way. Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, right? And when you see him speak, and when you hear him speak in the emotion that he has, it looks aggressive, but it's passion. His passion along with aggression to show people how much he really feels and how he feels about the word of God. So I think that when people see that passion, they need to recognize it for what it is. And you see it coming from a man. You know what I mean? A lot of times you see women doing their thing, but it's different sometimes when it comes from a man, and you see that passion and the way that he loves God and the way that he displays his life and displays the things of God to the people. So I think that's dope.
Yeah, that is. And too, man, I heard see somebody like, if y'all see behind me, there we go.
Yes, sir.
Comment on talk about it.
Yes, sir.
Yo, so my friend got this made for me probably about 5 years ago. So it's me on one end, and then it's the lion on the other end.
That's dope.
Like they split down the middle.
I see it.
Yeah, and that's what they that's what they called me. They were saying like I'm like a lion, like a roaring lion.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how like everything is just coming together right now, man. It's man, God is amazing, bro. God is amazing, bro.
He's dope.
God is amazing, man.
I'm telling you. Speaking of the lion, man, and being that we know that God is one of his names that we call Jesus is the Lion of Judah, right? I did a little bit of research on the lion, and then I'm gonna let Jose come behind me to kind of share his thoughts. But I did a little research on the lion, and when it comes to the big cat, the lion is the only one that has a community. When it comes to the big cats, all the other big cats are loners. They don't have a pride. They don't have other big cats that surround them. Only the lion does. And I wonder why. Because as a lion, that's the lead lion, that's the head lion, he has a goal and a job to protect that pride. That's his job. And that's what Jesus does for us, right? He did the ultimate thing to protect us from the enemy and the things of the enemy by sacrificing himself. Yes, so sir. I found that very interesting when I heard that the lion was the only big cat that didn't have any other cats. I mean, that had a community of cats around them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's dope.
Amazing.
But I'm gonna bring to y'all attention. I'm sure a lot of you guys heard this in a bunch of speeches and whatnot. But like they say, like the lion is the king of the jungle, and it's crazy to say that a lion is the king of the jungle. It's not the biggest in the whole jungle or in its territory. An elephant most likely is. Hippos are. It's not the fastest. We know that the cheetah is record for the fastest animal out there. And it's definitely not the smartest. But what makes a lion the king? What makes him the king? And I believe it's that mentality. And then I've heard that it's the hunt and then hunt again when because you have to feed your family. You have to feed the pride. The lion is not just killing for itself; it's feeding the whole family and everybody that comes behind him. And it's not even often that a lion go hunts with everybody else. It can do its thing by itself,
right,
and bring back and come feed the family. And then the other thing about the lion is that it loves the process. It's the process of being fierce, the process of hunting, the process of going out there and do what you got to do, and then keep it going tomorrow. That's where ferocious men, and then using your faith, because I hear a lot when you look up the definition of ferocious, it's like you'll hear savage, a bunch of negative connotations, but not once I've seen relentless.
Right.
To be fierce, you have to be relentless. I haven't seen it at all, and it just came in my head when we first started this thing, and I was like, that is a perfect definition of a man that's ferocious and still has faith behind him. Because you can be ferocious and being on the whole nother side, but having faith behind it is what makes it a different breed.
Yes, sir.
No doubt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. And when I when I think about ferocious, like there's three words that come to my mind. It's focus, controlled, passion.
Ooh.
I like that. I'm about to write that one
Ooh,
down.
put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. Focus,
Right?
control, passion.
Yeah, it's focus, controlled, passion. And I think that Jose, like you right, man, the way people use it on the other side is they're focused on the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? So when you focused on the wrong things, you're not even going to care about what you got to do to get it done. But it's also on the right side, right? If you got focus, control, passion, I don't think people focus, control, passion. I'm gonna just say this: from the African American man is looked at as scary.
You telling the truth.
Because we have a different kind of I'm not saying it's better, I'm saying it's different. It's a
Right.
different focus, controlled passion of getting things done and getting to where we feel we need to be. And also too, with the faith thing behind it, when people ask you, what's the opposite of faith, right? And most people say doubt,
Yeah,
right?
doubt.
Like the
Yeah.
opposite of faith is doubt, right?
Mhm.
But in the Bible, it says, faith. Oh, it lost me.
He'll come back.
Yeah. But it says about faith is basically not what we see, right? Faith
Yeah,
is what we believe is going to happen,
right. Faith is
right?
not the substance of things
Faith.
hoped
There
for,
we go. Faith is the
evidence of
substance of
things
things
not
hoped
seen.
for, the evidence of things not seen,
I got
right?
you. Hmm.
So if faith is the evidence of things not seen, the opposite of faith is what you see, right? Because if I see this computer in front of me, it don't take faith for me to see it.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm
So I
feeling
think I think that like the I think the thing that is keeping men down is not the lack of I don't even think it's the lack of passion. I think it's the fear of what they see.
you. I like that. I
You
like
get what
that.
I'm saying? But
I
because
feel you.
faith is on the other thing, right? It's like, to get around people who that's when Carlo, when you was talking about the community, like you need to get around people who can see further than you can, like who have vision, you know what I mean? Who have different
Right.
aspirations and things to expound your mind and expound your heart. And some people are stuck in that mindset and in that circle of people who don't see much. So
Right.
they stay only where they can see because it's comfortable.
You speaking, sir.
you see you see what I'm saying? Because what you see keeps you in your comfort zone,
Right. No
right?
doubt.
But like lions, right? Like they hunt at night, right? So their vision is different.
Mm,
You
yeah.
see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it takes a different vision to see beyond what you can see,
To
and that's
see
the
in
faith thing.
darkness.
Yeah, it takes that vision to see in darkness, man. He said, I'm with you. Yea, though you walk through the valley of the shadow. Like if there's a shadow, there's a light somewhere.
No doubt. I love
You
I love it. There's a shadow, there's a light somewhere. I love
there's
that.
a light somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's good. So listen, y'all, why anybody that may be just tuning in, again, this is Ferocious Men. That's our topic for tonight. We have a special guest who's going to be with us in November for the Ferocious Faith Conference, Pastor Eric Neely, and we just kind of chopping it up. Also, if y'all have questions, we want y'all to be engaging tonight. If y'all got questions, put them in the chat. Jose will be kind of looking at the chat from time to time is kind of pose some of those questions if you have any. But just to kind of add to what Pastor Neely was saying, right? I like to look for the example, right? So if I'm a Christian and I call myself one, the place that I'm going for my reference point is going to be the Bible. And so I asked myself today, as we were discussing and thinking about and praying about this topic, I said, well, God, who are some of the ferocious men that I can have an example of in the Bible? And give me an example of why they were ferocious. And so first and foremost, the first person that probably would come to most people's mind would probably be David. You know, because David was fighting bears and lions and all of that stuff, protecting his father's sheep. Then David killed the giant, cut his head off, that whole 9 yards. So we can see, obviously, because it's something that we can see with David, that he was ferocious, because we could see it. We could see what he did. We could see the carnage that he left behind, you know what I mean, with always giving God the glory for what he did, right? And then the next person that God gave me was Moses. He was ferocious because he had the courage to give the law. So he took the law from God, right?
That's good.
And he had the courage not only to take the law from God, but he had the courage to execute the law, right? So a lot of people don't have that kind of courage. They may know what to do, they may know how to do it, but they may be fearful in doing it because of repercussions, you know, that they may face from the other people that may not agree with. You know, at that time, the world was unruly. So you had to really think about what Moses had to endure in order to put that law out and put it down. You know what I mean? Obviously, when he was getting the law from God, they was down at the bottom of the mountain partying, getting crazy with it.
Acting a fool, yeah.
Yeah, they was wilding out. So, you know, he had to start immediately, soon as he came down the mountain, trying to execute the law where there was none. You know, so that's the other guy. Then Gideon was another person that came to me. He was ferocious because he was faithful to the Lord in a time of rampant spiritual rebellion. And it looks like that's kind of where we are right now. It's a bunch of rampant spiritual rebellion that's taking place, and people are afraid to call it that. A lot of people want to get along so they can go along, or go along so that they can get along, but they don't want to stand firm on the principles of God, not your principles, God's principles. You can point them out because they're written in the Bible. So they're written down so you can see them, so that people can stand firm on that. But right now, you know, I don't want to offend nobody. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. You know what I mean? But at the same time, there's a principle and a standard that God has. And then you have Joseph. Faith, what did you say earlier? You said control. What did you call it?
Focus, control, passion.
Focus, control, passion. That's what I think about. When you said that, Joseph came to my mind. Joseph was the second leader of the ruler of Egypt, right? Second ruler underneath Pharaoh. He saw his brothers who had did him super dirty. They threw him in a pit. You know what I mean? They thought about killing him, decided not to kill him, and said, you know what, we ain't going to kill him, but we're going to sell him into slavery. He went through all these different things. And then when he had the opportunity as the second ruler in Egypt, and they came to him and didn't recognize him, he could have gave him that work. He could have gave him all the smoke. But instead, he had control. He had authority to be able to do whatever he wanted to do to them, but he didn't do it. And then obviously, last but not least, when we talk about the ferocious men in the Bible, that comes to my example is Jesus.
Gotta be.
For obvious reasons. You know what I mean? He is the standard. But one of the things that we saw that Jesus did each and every day, all day, was speak truth to power and never held back.
Yeah.
So,
and bro, all of those are awesome. And I think I like to add one more that people probably would neglect, and that's Peter.
Peter was that wild dude.
You know what I'm saying? And two, like Peter was focused. Man, look, I got squirrel syndrome, so my brain sometimes goes somewhere. Like so, but good. I think about Peter and how he was with Jesus, right? So Peter went through all emotions with Jesus.
He did.
Like even to the point of denying him.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
right.
but Peter was a more humble Judas.
Never heard that one. I'm
about to break it. I'm about to break it down.
Break it down. Make it.
I'm about to break it down for you, my brother.
Me, sir.
You know, I've always been fascinated with this relationship with Jesus and Judas, and I'm like, okay, like Jesus, okay, Judas betrayed you, Jesus, but Peter also denied you 3 times. Why did one kill himself, and how did one come back to you? Right. But the question is, the answer is that Peter never took his eyes off of Jesus. Right? Even when he denied him, Peter was still in the cut, like
Watching.
like
Yeah.
I could see him, like
Yeah.
he's still within my view. Like,
Wow.
you see what I'm saying?
I'm
And that's
feeling it.
just, yeah. So that's just, to me, is like, especially, men out there, man, who feel they've been, probably backsliding, or not keeping up the end of the bargain, or even if they're doing stuff willingly, man, just don't take your eyes off Jesus, man. Because once you take your eyes off Jesus, you by yourself.
And you know what? To just add to what you just said, Peter had courage and was ferocious because he had the courage to step out of the boat when nobody else would, right? And what did
Facts.
he do? He was
Facts.
good while he kept his eye on Jesus. It was when he took his, that might have even been a lesson for him, but when he denied him.
Oh, come on, bro. Come on, bro. That's
He
good.
didn't start sinking and drowning until he took his eye off of Jesus.
Bro, that's good. And this is the thing too, man. People forget that Peter had to get back to the boat. How'd he get back to the boat, homie?
Right.
He walked.
Right.
He
Right.
walked on water again. You see what I'm saying?
No
Like,
doubt.
man, like, and that's why I just want to encourage, man, bro. Like, there's so many things against us, but there's one greater force than it is against us, man. And we can't let go of his hand. We can't step out of community, and we can't keep our eyes off of him, man. And we do them three things, man, together, bro. We can put back the order of how it's supposed to be.
Right. No doubt.
Well, that's dope, because a lion can't survive by itself in the wild. They will end up dying.
No doubt. No doubt. That, I mean, like I said, that's the only big cat that desires and needs community. You know what I mean? And it's weird that the lion would be the only one of those big cats of that species that would do that. That's crazy. No doubt. So listen, and I forgot to say this on the onset, for any fathers, I hope y'all had an amazing Father's Day. I know I did. My wife and my kids really took care of me. You know what I mean? But and for you, Pastor Ho, you had an amazing Father's Day as well. I had to put that out there. We just missed, Father's Day was this Sunday. And down here in Virginia, I don't know about in other areas of the country, but down here in Virginia, man, restaurants is actually sold out. Can you believe that? Restaurants are sold out. There wasn't a whole lot of grills going on Sunday around here, man. They were at the restaurant, so that was crazy. I love it.
We get
Listen,
love,
I want to say this, man, that my wife, and I love my wife is so amazing, man. I thank God for my wife. She is truly my rib. And we had this is how far this went back. We used to live in Jacksonville, Florida back in like 2004. And I had an idea then of, I had this thing called intimate conversations. And I wanted family members to get together at the dinner table and we just having conversation and it's being filmed, right? So I don't know what she was doing or what she was saying, but she had the idea to bring us all together on Saturday and honor some of the men, some of the fathers that we knew. So we brought we brought like 5-6 guys. We didn't want it to be super large and super big because we wanted people to be transparent. And when a bunch of brothers get together, man, and you got some people that's going to overtalk other people, not everybody get their opportunity to get their ideas and their words and their things out. So I think that was a good thing. So it was like 6 of us that came together, bro. And what you said earlier, one of the things that's going to help us to get back in alignment with God, and you see it in the Bible often, is that we need to have our community of people that we can trust. Like you said earlier, the community of people that can give me vision beyond what I can see. Those community of people that's going to give me wisdom when they see me going astray. Those community of people that even if I fell away from God, they ain't going to throw me away. They're going to come back after me and kind of grab me and bring me back into the mix. And that's what we had on Saturday night, man. We were just talking about all things, man. We talked about stuff like guns. You know what I mean? Why should we have guns? Shouldn't we? Why we should have guns? Why we shouldn't have guns? We talked about children. You know what I mean? How we had to raise our children. We talked about ourselves and some of the testimonies that we had when we were growing up, and how the baggage that we may have had may have affected our children with some of the things that we did to raise them. We talked about all of that stuff, man. And by the time it was over with, I'm telling you, man, it was some life-changing stuff that was going on in that room, bro. And so the next time, I pray that God gives me the opportunity to do that. I pray that the brothers will be willing to allow themselves to be filmed, because it was super authentic. Everybody was real. It was no shucking and jiving, no beating around the bush. We was keeping it 100. And I think that's what really builds brothers, man, because we have to learn to trust one another. We have to be able to show our scars, so that if we show our scars, by the brother that's talking to you or ministering to you is applying the ointment on that scar. So that
that's good. Yeah, that's good, man. And like I think I seen a question, like somebody said ferocious,
I
like
got
with
a good
anger.
comment up here from Maurice Allen. I see ferocious is power. If you have to say you are powerful, you don't really have true power. You don't have to be angry for others to see your fiercity. I had a dope analogy from a movie real quick. I don't want to cut you off, Pastor.
Oh, you good, brother?
If y'all ever seen the movie Pool Hall Junkies, sorry. All right, so he talks about a story how there's a lion and he's the king of the jungle. So big, very big, giant mane. And it was a hot day. It's hot outside. They usually don't like to move. So he decided he don't want to move. The cubs came and messed with him. They started biting on his ears, his tails, just messing around with him. The lioness comes, the queen, starts messing with him as well. He still does not move. The other animals notices this and they start to move in. They start eating his food in his domain. They get closer and closer, even nibble at his toes. They bark and laugh at him. Lions still never move. These were the jackals and the hyenas. One day, all it took was one day, the lion gets up and tears everyone and everything apart. Everybody in his path. That shows me that a lion, just like how you said, you don't have to tell the world how powerful you are.
That's dope.
You use it when you need it.
Mm-hmm. That's good, bro.
And then like one other thing real quick is that we're talking about husbands as well. So men, we're not just by ourselves. Yes, we are warring, and to be a fierce lion with God, you have to having that woman to point you to your battles. That's what the women does in the relationship. She tells you when not to fight, because they have that intuition and they're really good at it. We want to fight almost everything and anything that shows us wrong, that shows us the back of their hand. We're ready to go. But sometimes I love my wife for helping me pull back and telling me when and who to sick.
It's good work though, for real. For real.
That's definitely good, man. Because man, and that's the thing too. I think the thing is that people don't recognize ferocity until it looks like anger, right? Like even in, like I think men too, I had to start to learn how to have intense fellowship conversation, without coming to blows.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like right. to have that, we going back and forth, but we can agree to disagree and then go get a burger. You know what I mean? Like we can both be ferocious on our stance, right? We can be ferocious in the conversation, but we have to know where to focus the ferociousness too. And I think too with right now is that with how so divisive the world is right now, right? The Bible tells us we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, right? We wrestle against powers and principalities in the air. But everybody has us focused on a person, on flesh, as opposed to the enemy and his schemes.
The spirit, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that leaves us to want to fight each other as opposed to going in our war room and on our knees in the closet.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's also too of knowing what to focus, and that's when the Holy Spirit comes in and wife, like you said, right? To be like, hold on, okay, your focus is on the wrong thing, babe. Like you know what I mean? Your focus is not there. Like it's not on him. Like nobody wants to be like that. Let's understand. I'm reading the Bible. Jesus is a beast anyway, but he's the sad lion and lamb at the same time.
At the same time.
And the thing I love about Jesus, and I try to model in my own life when it comes to people, is that I don't look at the manifestation of what they're doing. I'm trying to understand why they do it. Because if I can understand how they do it, then my anger would turn to compassion.
That's good. That's
You,
good.
you know what I'm saying? Like nobody really wants to be racist. Nobody wants to be a butthole. Nobody wants to be, nobody wants to be that way. It's always a why. And you know what I mean? And I'm trying to, I think we need to try to live a little bit more less offended and more curious.
I feel you on that. That's major. I'm gonna go there though. I'm gonna go ahead and go there.
Let's go.
And it's a situation that happened. The world saw it. I'm gonna go back to the Will Smith, Chris Rock situation, right? It's the Oscars. A prestigious event. This is the first time that I think the Oscars was ever being produced by a black producer, and the whole 9 yards. That whole situation. So it was something that was historic, right? And it's the Oscar had been around for I don't know how many years, and this was the first time that we had the opportunity to control everything. And let me first say, I understand when it came to what Will Smith did, right?
Right.
But there's a time and a place for everything. So when you talk about that control, Will Smith not only was a bigger person than Chris Rock, Will Smith arguably was a bigger star.
Oh yeah.
Will Smith is known worldwide. So he knows the type of gravitas and things that he has and the responsibility that he has. And in that 1 minute or that 1 second when his wife looked at him, gave him the look or whatever it was that set him off, he had to, sometimes you got to try to think that's what a real control is. And that's what when you're able to be ferocious and having it control is when you know when to, like Jose said earlier, know when to release it. Yep. Releasing it in front of millions of people worldwide was not the place to do it. If he had to do it, it should have been something that happened behind stage at the after party. You knew you were going to see Chris Rock again. You know what I mean? In that same night. But instead, because of that, I don't care how many other more blockbuster movies Will Smith do. I don't care what else he do from this point forward. A lot of his legacy is going to be left on that incident that he did at that moment. You know what I mean? And I have to give so the person that I expected to have control didn't, and the person that I did expect to have control did. So I have to give Chris Rock his props because it could have been super ugly if he decided to retaliate. You know what I mean? And they rolling all on the stage, and it would have been a complete disaster. So I have to commend Chris Rock for having the control where it's building up. He a man, you know what I mean? Just like any of the rest of us. And he just got not only smacked, but he got smacked in front of the world, in front of millions of people. And he held his composure. So shout outs to them. But I mean, I think that's a clear case of what you're saying, that we can have these situations, we can have disagreements, and they don't have to necessarily get physical. But in our community, the African American community, that's one of our first forms of retaliation. That's one of our first forms of aggression, is to say, okay, I don't like you, you don't like me. We have a couple of words, and then the next thing you know, we either fist the cuffing or we're going to grab the pistol and we're going to shoot. Instead of saying, okay, just like you just said, why am I having a situation with this brother? You know what I mean? Let me think deeper than just what I see right now. You know what I mean? Let me have the courage to walk away, but not us, because we don't want to be called a punk. We don't want to be called a coward. We don't want to, and that's one of the biggest things, one of the biggest misnomers there is when you walk away from a fight instead of engaging in one.
Yeah, good.
On the other hand, something told me I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. I give Will Smith his props for standing up for his wife, no matter what. We live in a day and age that anybody can say anything about anything. It's one thing to talk about me, but Chris Rock knows street rules and he knows the rules of engagement. It wasn't like, and it's been in the past that Chris Rock, they already had a debacle. They know not to talk trash about each other. They were at that point. So for him, it was not just like laughing and geeking, and then your time comes. It showed the importance of you standing ground for your wife. You don't see that for any other celebrity ever in the world that would ever stand up for their wife the way he did.
Yeah, I get. I'm with both sides, right? Like I'm with both sides, but like we also too have to be mindful of who's watching when it comes to us. You know what I'm saying? Like I guarantee you, they probably the laughing stock. Oh yeah, we ain't gonna have these black people do this no more. Like they out here acting fools and all of this things. And also too, I guarantee you, it took money off of Will Plate and Jada because they ain't even got the red table talk thing no more.
Yeah, they shut that down.
Yeah, they should have been that.
You know what I'm saying? Like they shut them down. You know what I mean? And and like this is just to me, like I still go back to Jesus. Like the greatest manifestation of a person who has power is control. Like Jesus could have came off that. Like he could have been like, yo, forget all y'all jokers, man. Like y'all sitting here throwing doodle at me and beat me till my skin is all, my bones are showing. I'm gonna get down from this cross. I'm gonna breathe on y'all, kill y'all. I'm going back to my father.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he was like, no, I have to. I'm focused and I'm controlled. And even they call it the passion. Like I'm focused and I'm controlled and I got passion for the children of God and I want them to have a relationship with the Father. And that's the thing. I think we need to sit with a lot of probably younger men and probably men who've been led astray and ask like, what do you like? What's your goal? Like they're just floating. You know what I'm saying? And when you floating and you don't have no goal, like everything becomes a distraction. Like everything becomes so important. Everything becomes right now. And when we start grasping on a whole bunch of stuff, you lose focus on the main thing. And then when you don't know, like even with us, like right, like if we don't know and we frustrated, it turns to anger. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody asks us a question, we ready to fight. Somebody sneeze wrong or somebody fart wrong, we ready to fight. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
that's real talk.
but it don't come from like a big thing. It comes from a pile of a whole bunch of things. And that goes back to you. Yeah, it goes back to you, Ricardo, about having, a person or some people that you can just unload on. Like, man, I'm going through this, bro. I'm going through this. I'm going through this. And for them to be able to be open and honest with you, because I guarantee you, we're not the only ones going through stuff, man. All we got to do is just open our mouth.
Absolutely. I agree with that, bro. Like you said, for me, it's two things that I think when it comes to like older and younger generations, and I don't want to get into this generation, they ain't the same as our generation and they don't listen. I don't think that's the case. What I think is we have to come up with a better way of communicating with the younger generation and what we do. First thing that's going to push a lot of people off or push a lot of people away is when you start to criticize them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all jokers don't do what we do. Y'all can't pull your pants up. You got your pants walking around, hanging around your legs and ankles and all this and that. How do you expect for any person to want to even talk to you when you've already criticized them? So we have to make a space where we can be able to communicate with them. Our generations are different, true indeed, but there's still areas where we can still connect so that we can be able to impart that wisdom, because even though we know that they need wisdom, it's not what you say, is how you say it. Like my mom used to tell me all the time. So you got to deliver it in a way that they're going to be able to receive it, and then they'll be reciprocated back. So I think a lot of times the younger generation don't feel like they're respected by the older generation because of what they do. But quiet as it's kept, each generation is the same thing. So it's the same cycle. The generation before us thought that we were a mess. You know what I mean? For real. And then the generation before them thought that they were a mess. So where do we break the cycle to say, okay, let's get beyond what, like you just said, what we see, and let's focus on what the goal is.
Yeah, and I've seen somebody with a comment talking about the offended more and curious. Like that goes back to that. Instead of, going to these young boys and saying, yo, don't do that. Ask them why you doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like, I help me understand. Like, help me understand this music. Like, help me understand what you're going through. And I
Right,
think you nailed it on the head too, man. It's like it's not what you say, it's how you say it. But
right.
it's also, I love this quote. It says, uh, rules without relationship equals rebellion. Right? Like
Ooh,
we're not taking time with these
yeah,
dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not taking time and getting to know them. Like,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like we so focused on other things. And I think like, instead of trying to reach down to slap them, you know what I'm saying? Like we need to start reaching down and pulling them up and say, all right, yo, like help me understand where you at. Like I did when I was that way, when I was in your age, this is how it was. So
Right,
help me understand how it is now.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like help me understand that, and then have that type of dialogue. Like, go holler at a dude, go scoop him up, go take him to play ball, go play pool, go. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Do something with him so you can get that relationship to be able to try to bring in some
Open
correction.
the
Because if you
door.
don't, they gonna buck up at you all day long.
Exactly. Exactly. Because they don't feel like you have nothing in common. And on top of that, they don't feel like you respect them anyway. Now, I
Yep.
see a question in here that I want to address. And this is a good one. So, I mean, anybody can jump on this. Brother Maurice asks, does being ferocious have a place in marriages?
Definitely, definitely. I think ferocious has a negative just connotation, right? Like I'm me, I'm a ferocious dude. Like I play football, right? Like thank God I got to go to some NFL squads. I got cut, but at least I got there, right? But
No doubt.
you know what I'm saying?
I ain't know
But
that about you, bro.
oh
Okay.
yeah, man. I was a beast out there in the field. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But that's the way I attacked life, right? Like you. I heard a dude say, you have to plan your wins because your failures gonna plan themselves. You know what I'm saying? So
Man,
I
you
have to
dropping some
be
bombs. You dropping some nuggets up here, man.
you
I
know what I'm
like
saying? Like
that.
I have to be focused and controlled and have passion to do so because if I don't, then I'm gonna get sidetracked. Like I got a son, he's 14, right? About to get his permit and license and all this stuff. Now I got to be focused and controlled and have passion to now I'm gonna have to get this dude on my insurance. Now we're gonna have to get a car. Like now we're gonna have to shuffle finances. You know what I'm saying? So everything has to have that focus, control, passion, because if you don't, it's so easy to get sidetracked. I'm passionate about loving my wife. I'm passionate about my work. I'm passionate about ministry. I'm passionate about people. Like everything has to be done with ferocity because if it's not, then again, like you're gonna get easily sidetracked and you're gonna be going somewhere down the line that you don't need to be going.
I agree with you 100%. Just to kind of add to what you said, I believe that you definitely need to be ferocious in your marriage because it's going to require that to do whatever it is that needs to be done. Whether
Facts.
it's, what I mean, whether it's you raising your children together in the marriage, you got to do that with ferociousness. And what I mean by being ferociousness, examples. Let me put examples on this thing. We see right now that the school system is not what it used to be. We see that right now with the school system that they're entertaining all types of things in the school system that are not biblical and not godly. So you're starting to see an influx of parents that are starting to homeschool their children.
Yeah.
That's ferociousness. That's
Yep.
you making a sacrifice and being ferocious about making sure that your children are going to be in a safe environment and get the proper teaching that they need. Being ferocious about your marriage with your spouse. What I mean by that is, paying attention to your spouse, understanding who he is or who she is, especially coming from us as husbands, understanding who your wife is. And when you're ferocious, I think part of being ferocious is making sacrifices. We
Oh,
say,
definitely.
we always say that it's about being relentless, but you need to make sacrifices in that control that you were referring to. That focus control is part of your sacrifice to be. I'm not going to focus on everything else. I'm going to keep my eyes focused on the prize with my wife right now. Right now, she requires all of my attention, and that's what I need to give her. And in order for me to give her that without being distracted, I need to be ferocious.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna ask y'all, how y'all use ferocious men in parenting? How you use
Mm.
that ferocious aspect in parenting? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? How do you use it?
that is when I learned a long time ago that I have to watch my strength with my son because I can't do it when I'm angry. I have to make sure that I'm looking at the right thing. And when I use the ferociousness, when I talk to him, I let him know that I'm not talking at him as a person. I'm talking to have him to have a view of what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like those are two different things. It's like, no, you're not a bad person, but no, you're not a bad person, and you made this decision that's not wise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be ferocious because I have to protect you. I know what your friends do. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I'm not their parent, but if I'm not focused and controlled and have passion on keeping you safe as possible, somebody else is going to take that control, and they don't love you as much as I do.
Right.
Uh,
That's dope. I like that.
And that's the thing. Is like, Jesus said, God said, I'm a jealous God. He wasn't jealous because, we choose something over him. He was jealous not only because we chose it, but he knows that that thing doesn't have our best interest at heart. And that's where I think ferociousness come from. I can be ferocious, like, because I know my heart is clear. I know my heart is pure. And I know that I'm doing it out of love and not out of trying to punish somebody.
That's good.
And I think that's where like when people see ferociousness, it's coming out of it may be a hard heart or a broken heart, or somebody who went through some things in their life, and it comes out as anger and misunderstood. So sometimes, I think most of the time, anger is misunderstood love to a degree.
I can agree with that.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and it and but when it comes to just ferociousness, again, that focus and control passion, you need to have focus and control passion in everything you do,
Right.
in
Absolutely.
everything, especially when it comes to your wife and your family.
And that's where you got to understand, just like you said, where to be strong and where to be gentle. And I think what you just said earlier, I want to kind of ditto that to this, because you said something earlier. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but spirits and principalities in high places, right? That's how you should look at your children, understanding that it's not your child possibly that's doing what's doing. And if he is, where is that coming from? You know what I mean? Especially when they're younger, where is that coming from? Where is that, whatever that issue is with the child, where is it coming from? And understand that I'm trying to do something as a form of discipline, as a form of correction, not as a form of punishment, right? So everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to teach you, and it may require me to be disciplined or do some disciplinary actions to teach you to be able to know that that's not the right decision to make or the right thing to do, right? But at the same time, you always want to be calculating and thinking that I'm not doing this just to punish my child or hurt my child. I'm doing this to make sure that they understand that this is not a good decision to make.
100%. 100%.
Me with parenting, I use the fierceness, and because also another good definition of fierce is extremely intense. So I use my voice.
Mm-hmm.
If that different tone in my voice is over. Stop what you're doing, come down and listen to what I'm about to say.
Yes, sir.
That's where I use that intensity for, and that fierceness. But me whooping my kids, just like you, my hands are full of callus. All right.
Right.
When be the kids, it literally has to be Raven go whip them down, or I'm just like I gotta go think about it and then come back.
Right.
We ain't trying to go to jail.
Let's be real. Let's be real. I know my kids have taken me there in the past. All kids, I'm sure, do it to us. And you got to remember, that's when you got to really be controlled, have that focus control to know that this is not about me punishing my kid. This is about me teaching my kid. And so what you said was good. That's why God gave us bass in our voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. So when the lion roars,
Yes.
Jungle responds.
Exactly.
Right? They know how to respond. So sometimes you don't need in that. And a lot of times when the lion roars, he don't have to put his hands on nothing. Things are moving because the lion roared. I love it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
So listen, man. I'm telling you, man. I'm trying to look to see if it's any other questions or concerns when we got about 5 more minutes, Pastor.
I
6
seen
more
one that
minutes.
said something about insecurity.
Yeah, I did.
It said did ferociousness something about insecurity, or did I?
Insecurity.
I'm about to tell you, it's right around.
Yeah, can being ferocious give off a sense of insecurity?
Okay. That's a good question to knock out for
Yeah.
these last few minutes. Can being
Yeah.
ferocious give off a sense of insecurity?
Yeah,
he got it.
I think being ferocious can give can give off a sense of arrogance, because again, what my coach used to say, man, he says the difference between confidence, like confidence is born by demonstrated ability, right? So if I've demonstrated something over time, I can have confidence in it. And in order to be, I don't think it's probably in it. Ferociousness might bring out insecurity in others
Yeah.
because you're focused, you're controlled, and you have passion, which might make somebody who doesn't have that a little insecure, right? But
Right.
because they're not in that. But as long as you're not using that to demean anyone, like I'm not passionate to say I'm better than anybody, because believe me, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. But I do know if I put my mind to something, it could be done.
Right.
You know, and I think it might it might give people it might make people feel insecure when they're around when they're around a ferocious person. I don't think it might be I don't think it might seem insecure to the person. It might be the people around them.
Now, I want to respond to that too. I think I might understand what they're coming from with this question.
Okay.
You ever heard the statement that the person that the loudest person in the room is normally the scariest person?
Okay, I see where it's coming from.
Yeah, so I think that might be the angle that they're coming from. That I have to be ferocious, or at least show a sense of ferociousness to protect myself, because I'm afraid. Deep down inside, I'm really afraid of my situation. But the best way for me to try to protect myself is to show a sense of ferociousness, even though I know I won't bust a grape. So it is a time when that happens where you need to try to show some form of ferociousness as a form of protection.
Right. Yeah.
So
that is true.
That might have been the vein as to where that question was coming from. I could be wrong, but I mean that's the other way that I was looking at it.
Yeah, I think that's probably where they were bringing it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good view, bro.
Thank you. You got any last words before we get ready to shut this thing down, man?
That's pretty much it. Y'all hit it all the nail. We got the focus, control, the passion, relentless.
Listen,
know when to use it, time and a place. We shoot.
Nuggets are being dropped. I mean, Pastor Ely got all kinds of nuggets. That focus, control, passion, man, is dope. I'm gonna keep that in my mind. That focus, control, passion. But listen, man, I really appreciate you, Pastor, for being on tonight, taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us. We consider it a privilege and an honor for you to be with us tonight. Thank you. I believe that people were blessed. I believe the Holy Spirit used us to be able to perform God's glory tonight. And I pray that people online got what they needed. I really do. So in moving forward, man, I just can't wait to continue to chop it up with you, continue to build and grow with you. You know what I mean? Because we're going to help each other stay in alignment with the Lord. You know what I mean? And I really can't wait for November, man. You roar.
Hey, bro, I want to let people know in here, bro, that I'm gonna call him Mr. Ricardo. Man, this dude, man, is the most humble beast, man of God, bro, who steps out when he hears a man. Like to have somebody come out of nowhere, dude, you just met in Houston, to be able to help pour into your ministry and pour into people, bro, and to just have faith in God that he knows what he's doing, bro, I'm humbled and I'm honored to be able to serve in any kind of capacity that I can do it, man. I know I'm gonna get to know your son in love. You know what I mean? We gonna get into, man. We gonna hang out. But again, man, you, from the bottom of my heart, man, I'm truly, truly, truly grateful, man, for this opportunity, man.
No doubt,
We
man.
blessed to have you, man.
Yeah, I feel the same way, bro. I really do. You really blessed us tonight. Thank you for being a servant, a person that understands God's will and his way. Thank you for being transparent tonight. Thank you for being practical. And thank you for dropping them nuggets, man. I'm still trying to pick them up, make sure Jose write them down or write them down for me so I can get them all, man. But I'm really excited. So, y'all, this is just a sample taste of what y'all going to get from this man when we get to Houston in November. So I need y'all to be there. Remember, it's November the 10th through the 12th. All the different prices and everything are online, rfkoutreach.com/ferocious-faith. We usually have it in the banner, but that's what it is. Y'all go there, check it out. This man is going to be there. A lot of other great speakers are going to be there, and y'all don't want to miss it because I know that God is going to move. Y'all need to get to Houston, and y'all need to get prepared for what's going to happen. So, yes, Pastor, thank you again. We really appreciate you, and I can't wait, man, for us to continue to just build and grow.
Thank you, sir.
Cowboy hats on.
Hey, get the cowboy hats and get your boots, man. Get the cowboy hats and
cowboy hat boots.
I'm for real, man. I think my wife still trying to put a little something together where we got to rock cowboy hats and boots.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Let's see how that works.
Regular outfit. Y'all better have them ready.
The regulars.
Hey, yo,
ties and all. Let me say.
Hey, so listen, for everybody that's on tonight, man, I just want to say thank y'all. If y'all can really just give some love, some hearts, some thumbs up, you know what I mean, for Pastor Ely and the word and the thing that he dropped tonight, man. Show him some love. Show him how we do in the RFK Couples and Marriage Outreach Group, how we welcome him and his family and welcome him and his knowledge. It's been amazing. So, again, I'm not going to keep y'all. I just want to tell y'all, thank y'all for logging on tonight. We really appreciate it. We pray that you got something out of this. And remember, this is about us as men becoming more ferocious and understanding how God wants us to use it to take dominion and do what he wants us to do here on the earth. So,
and if you really liked it, make sure you share it to at least 2 other people so we can be popping for next week as well, right?
No doubt.
All right,
let's get it. Let's get it. So love y'all. God bless y'all. Again, thank y'all for rocking with us. And we'll talk to y'all soon. Oh, yeah, by the way, don't forget. Thursday morning at 6:30, we will be in the building. I will be in the building at least praying. We'll see if anybody else going to join me at 6:30 in the morning, but we're going to be praying. And it's going to be on the vein of ferocious men and what we as men need to do to become more ferocious, to take what's belonging to us, because God has given us dominion to take it, right? So be there on Thursday morning at 6:30. All right, that's all I got to say for the rest of that night. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us. We appreciate y'all. God bless.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, cut and